Hi everybody. Hopefully this is a very quick update to show you some new toys I've got. My wife bought me this for Christmas and I wanted to show you this, but I wanted to show you it for a particular reason. As you know, some of the trains from Dapol recently, in terms of quality, have not been up to scratch. Particularly the class 68 and this BlackLabel A4, and this is no exception to problems. Some of you have probably bought these, had problems, and you've sent them back. Start again. Some of you may be thinking of buying one of these. I thought I'd do this just to make you aware of some of the problems it has. This is the, let's just get out the box, or open the box rather. The packaging is brilliant, as with all of Dapol's, but this is the A4 Quicksilver. It's delivery I wanted as well. I'm surprised my wife knew. Now, the problems with it are to do with they tried to get DCC and DC running on the same loco. And I think because of that, it's inherited lots of problems. The smoke works brilliantly. It puffs in relation to the rotation of the wheels and the chuffs, and it blows smoke when you play the whistle. All that works fine. And the loco runs fine, but I've not been able to test it fully yet because I don't have any loops to try it on, but I will do in the not too distant future. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Yeah, the problems it has, because they've tried to set it up to run on a DCC and DC, if you put the locomotive on the track and run it, sound plays and smoke comes on. Because it thinks you're running in DC mode. So it starts playing sound. If you then try and use the other sound functions on your controller, you'll find you can't. And you think, oh my God, something wrong with it. And there is. But if you know how to run it, it's fine. If you put it on your track, and before you run it, you turn the sound on, it works fine. The smoke works fine. And all the sounds that you play work fine, as long as you don't run it first. As you have to put it on the track and turn the sound on. The other issue with it, underneath the front bogie, there is a switch that is set to switch the smoke generator on or off. If you switch it on, then it thinks you're running in DC mode and it'll play the smoke straight away. If you turn it off, it's supposed to think, and this is according to the manual, it's supposed to think you're running in DCC mode and you use a function key to turn it off and on. That function key does not work. So that part of the manual is garbage. If you, as mentioned earlier, run it in DC mode and move the train, it starts playing sound and randomly plays other sounds and it starts to smoke. To turn the sound off, you have to turn it on at the controller. If you want the sound off, did I just say that? Start that little bit again. if you want the sound off, for example, if you're on the train in DC mode, it starts playing the sound. To turn the sound off, you have to turn it on at the controller. Likewise, it starts puffing smoke out. If you want to turn the smoke off, you have to turn the smoke on at the controller. And that is absolutely crazy. They spent a lot of time and money on developing this locomotive, and it is brilliant to look at. It's all cast iron, very heavy locomotive. But because of those problems, people are sending them back. If you know how to run them, then they're fine. I've had no issues on a rolling road and some piece of track I've used it on. It does run fine. If you turn the sound on before you move the locomotive. Now, I've been in touch with Dapol, who are unbelievably useless, absolutely useless, because my wife purchased this from another source, brand new, not direct from Dapol. They wouldn't help me. They were extremely rude and totally unhelpful. But I found out that DCC Supplies are the person to go to when they have issues. So I contacted them, and they are really hard to get hold of. You try ringing them, and they're always engaged, or an answer phone kicks in and say they're busy, blah, 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 blah. I emailed them, and they did respond to that, and they did tell me there are problems with this locomotive. They suggested, and they sent me some CV values to switch off certain functions so it doesn't think it's running in DC mode. But that doesn't work properly, and I didn't expect it to either. But I've decided to keep it because, as mentioned, it does run really well and it sounds nice, and the smoke is it's different. I believe it has a fan below the or incorporated in the smoke generator that spins to create the puffs of smoke and the whistle smoke. If it fails, and I know it will, what I've decided to do with this is to put in either a Locksound 4 decoder or a Zimo decoder and rewire it all, just to use the smoke generator as the standard ones I've showed you in other videos, and take out the DC functions completely. It's a problem when they try to be too clever with this locomotive, trying to get it to run under DC and DCC. That in itself caused loads of problems. So if you've got one of these and you think you've got problems, you have and you haven't. Just remember, if you want to run it in DC mode, it'll work. Play the sounds. To turn the sounds off, you need to turn them on at your controller. But that would only apply if you had a DCC controller. I think you can see all the issues associated with this locomotive, because you tried to be too clever with the DC and DCC functions. If you buy one and you have issues, my advice is to go to DCC Supplies direct. Forget Dapol, because they're bloody useless, absolutely useless and rude. But that's that. I'm very pleased with it, even with the little idiosyncrasies it has. I also got, my wife also got me a new camera. It's an absolutely brilliant camera for my layout. What I like about this one is you see what you're filming on the display, and it's Wi-Fi, and the app you get with it is equally brilliant. I'm absolutely over the moon with this camera. But that's it regarding this Dapol. If you want me to explain in an email or wherever the problems with this and the CV values I was sent by DCC Supplies to switch off certain functions so it should run better on the DCC, please let me know, and I'll send you the email that DCC Supplies sent me. So that's that. That's the Dapol. My best model railway present was from my grandson, and it was this. Oh dear. I'm going to play with this later. And he couldn't wait to give me this. God love him. Absolutely brilliant little train. Haven't had it out of the box yet and run it. But that's my first. This would be my first train running on my track, or a track. Just a loop, I think. That's it. That's what you get. So I'll play about with this later. With regards to a layout, another YouTuber suggested I make a small layout. So I've decided to do that, and I bought myself a Hornby train set, digital train set, with the track mat and all the relevant bits and pieces. So I'm going to make a small layout on a board about I don't know, 5 foot by 4 foot, thereabouts. So I can run trains. I'm going to try and get a couple of loops going in it. So I can run 2 trains. So that will be coming early next year. So I can practice setting up points, or wiring the whole system, adding lights to the layout, static grass, the whole thing. I may have some buildings on it, or it may just be based on hills and so on. So that's it. Hope you all had a very nice Christmas, and you're going to have an even better 2018. As mentioned, if you need to know more about the issues with the A4, please let me know, and I'll send you the information. As mentioned, it is a nice locomotive, but it does have issues, as with the Class 68. And if you know those issues and you're prepared to work around them, then it's nice. Okay, thanks very much.